For a limited time, $1 gets you full access to all the automotive industry news and content CBTNews.com has to offer. CBT News. Subscribe today. Welcome to CBT News with Bridget Fitzpatrick.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to CBT News. I'm Bridget Fitzpatrick. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's Zach Seago with today's top stories.
Thanks, Bridget. Starting off our coverage, the Biden administration is planning to propose stricter pollution rules for the auto industry. Although the exact policies are still under review, the government is not planning to ban sales of gas-powered cars. Instead, the president will place new limits on light vehicle emissions starting in 2027. Biden will present the standards on April 12th in Detroit, alongside a set of policies written by the Environmental Protection Agency to govern air pollution from trucks. Up next, less than a week after the introduction of new EV tax credit rules, Tesla again lowered prices for some of its most popular vehicles. According to the automaker's website, the Model 3 and the Model Y received a discount of $1,000 and $2,000 respectively, while prices of both the Model S and the Model X were dropped by $5,000. While the brand rarely offered deals in the past, it has slashed prices no less than 5 times since January. Polestar has confirmed it's on pace to sell 80,000 vehicles before the end of the year. In the first quarter of 2023, the EV maker delivered approximately 12,000 vehicles, 26 more than it had in early 2022. Based on remarks in the press release, CEO Thomas Ingeleth has even more ambitious goals for the coming months, saying, quote, "We expect to start production of our highly anticipated electric SUV Polestar 3 in the summer, and we will shortly launch the Polestar 4, the SUV coupe transformed." For our final story, on April 5th, Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares made several remarks about the future of the EV market and expressed concerns over how electrification will affect the car industry. During an interview at the New York Auto Show, Tavares warned that the high cost of manufacturing battery-powered vehicles could make it impossible for automakers to sustain an electric transition on their own. To address the issue, the CEO urged lawmakers to be more involved, adding, quote, "It is not a problem for corporations solely." Don't go anywhere. Coming up next is Lisette Gold, the head of automotive retail at Google. We'll be right back.
Delivering the news dealers count on for 10 years. Subscribe today and join thousands of other automotive professionals. CBT News, 10 years strong.
We all know that branding is essential for auto dealers, and as competition and inventory ramps back up, it's important to know ways that you can improve your efforts. On this episode of Inside Automotive, we're pleased to welcome back Lisette Gold, the head of automotive retail at Google, to walk us through brand building at the retail level. Check it out.
Who doesn't want to hear what Google has to say on this topic and marketing in general? So thanks for joining us once again. Can you elaborate a little bit more on why retail branding is necessary for dealers and dealer groups right now?
Yeah, and first I'll say, Jim, this is one of my favorite conversations to have right now with auto groups and with dealers. We've always looked at branding at the OEM level, and they do a wonderful job and looking at new products and bringing those to the dealers.
Sure.
But with, as you mentioned, all the changes happening in the industry since COVID, really, and the acceleration of what retailers are doing between e-commerce, inventories coming back.
Yep.
Things have changed. I think now is really the time to start thinking about branding your own dealership and branding your own auto group.
That's right.
And for me, the question is simply just branding is just answering this question of why should a consumer buy at your dealership or with your auto group compared to the dealership next door?
That's right.
And so I have a lot. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and it also comes at a perfect time as dealers are trying to figure out how to hold on to maintain that gross profit that they've enjoyed over the last 3 years. Now that inventory levels are coming back, let's get away from price in retail automotive, because one thing that we know, it's not always about price. If the last 3 years gave us anything, it was that confidence that when somebody likes your product and they need your product and they want your product, they'll pay sticker price for the car. So branding is very important right now because it's not about price.
Yes, you're right. And there's always going to be a room for price, you know,
Right.
and that's always part of the conversation. But I think leading with a different message right now is really important. So I'm going to give you a couple of statistics, Jim, that I think are going to kind of knock your socks off a little bit. So S&P has been doing a lot of research in this area, both in Q4 of 2022 and 2023.
Okay.
And what they have found is that 53% of in-market buyers right now are what they're calling a one and done buyer, which means they're coming to your dealership, they're buying a vehicle from you, and you're likely to never see them again.
Right.
And that number is at the highest level it's been in 10 years.
So
if we ever thought
they're coming to the dealership and they're not coming back for service or anything. They're just, like you said, one and done, never to be seen again.
That's it. And so this is really an interesting thing if we think about how inventory is ramping up. And, you know, the profile of the consumer is also changing. One thing we've seen through IHS data, which is very interesting to me when I compare this to S&P, is that actually household income is changing for new vehicle buyers. It used to be that the main new vehicle buyer had a household income of $50,000 to $99,000. And now the majority of buyers are at $250,000 household income or more.
All right, be sure to watch this interview in its entirety right here at cbtnews.com. That wraps up our show for today, but we invite you to join us back here again tomorrow morning for all the latest news and trends impacting the retail automotive industry. And be sure to follow us on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Bridget Fitzpatrick. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
CBT News, your #1 resource for auto industry news and content. Join the #1 most watched newscast in the automotive industry. CBT News. Subscribe today.